We are not experts at all, ladies
No,
and gentlemen.
amateurs in almost every sense of the word.
Except for podcasting, and
It's true, I did once get professionally paid to edit and record podcasts.
See, there you go. And there's a few other skills I have.
Yeah. I got other skills that people will pay me for, maybe. I don't know.
My dog just hit the door, so that was interesting. She was like, fucking let me in. And then, like, we're doing a podcast.
No. Alright. Welcome back to Serial Killer. One day we'll have an intro song.
I love it. It was like, welcome back.
Like DJ radio voice.
After our last message.
Fart sound, cymbal crash, baby cry.
What are you listening to?
Bob's Burgers.
Valid. Hi guys, welcome to Serial Killer, the podcast where we talk about...
We pair violent criminals with breakfast cereal.
Like you do.
As you do. As you want to.
As you want to.
I am Maria Spiridigliozzi.
I'm Anastasia, Washington,
I think.
Who knows?
There we go. And this week we have continuing our tradition of boy girl.
Because we'll always do that.
Yes.
Unless we get a transgendered.
Ooh, interesting.
And
then if we end up with cold cases, that'll get confusing.
Yeah.
But anyway.
We'll just assume it's male. Because they always do bad things. I'm
Always
just kidding.
Always the husband.
Just joking. I'm just joking. I love men. Call me. Just kidding. Don't call me. I'm so scared.
Please don't find my phone number.
No. I do. I love men. They just murder a lot. Sorry.
It's true. Okay, so this week
We got a lady.
we have a lady.
A lady killer, but not a lady killer.
Yes, she killed men and women. Was not discriminatory
Equal
there.
opportunity.
Equal opportunity.
So my
murder.
sweatshirt is kind of cool. She was bi killing. I'm biracial. She's bi
murderous. I don't know.
Genderous? I don't know. We'll work on it. We'll come back.
We'll figure it out.
We'll circle back.
Yeah. Okay. So she was the angel of death, Jane Toppan. She was a nurse, and I picked Life Cereal because she enjoyed taking lives.
Oh, I was gonna wonder. Like she wouldn't tell. She actually.
I did not. Yeah, I did not tell Anastasia what
She
cereal I
wouldn't
was
tell
bringing
me.
for that.
I was like, I wasn't
surprised.
gonna ask, but I was like,
because
she's
we were
really pussyfooting
texting
around.
about it, and we're like, what? Like cornflakes? Like it's an 1850s murder.
Yeah, so there was 3 options. One is defunct.
Yeah, not
granola,
cereal.
Granola, which was such a bad cereal that they stopped making it. But if you find a Granola 10, I will pay you for it. Just, I want it to be on our little backdrop thing.
Yes.
Because that would be really cool to have
That'd
an
be
ancient,
great.
old
Old cereal.
Yeah. Because they used to come in 10s, and I love that shit.
That's great.
But there was also shredded wheat.
Shredded wheat, yeah, because it was invented around then.
Cornflakes.
Yeah. But yeah, I chose Life Cereal because she took lives indiscriminately, and I thought it would be funny.
Is Life the one that has the little sugar inside?
No?
Okay.
No, Life is another one of those boring ones that's like, it's good for you. Yeah, good source of calcium. No high fructose corn syrup.
That you know.
That it says.
Alright.
So yeah, so Life Cereal, as most people pretty much
like.
know from, I'm guessing, party mix.
Yeah, put that right up to the mic.
Nobody.
Yeah.
Smart. I can't even open this bag. I'm like, it looks
You could have had
like
the
an
giant scissors.
animal opened.
You could have had the giant scissors.
And it smells like cardboard.
I want to taste it dry. And I want to smell it.
It's not.
Oh god.
Yeah, it smells like
does
cardboard. 'Cause
smell like
I'm pretty sure the
cardboard.
cereal just has no scent. It's like, I haven't eaten Life cereal in so long.
Yeah, it does have little sugars in it.
Mm-hmm. Right.
And the inside. Yeah, that's the one. I
Pretty
like
good.
this one. Okay.
Yeah, that's
It's
nice.
not bad. Dry.
Not terrible dry. This is one, however, that you have to eat fast or it becomes like wallpaper paste.
Oh, shit.
It, like,
I guess I'm eating a lot.
it like turns into fucking spackle if you don't eat it. Quick enough.
Is there anything fun on this one? No, not really.
On the box? No, it's
No.
just like a treehouse. Playful discoveries. Life is full of beautiful moments. The
It really
outdoors is the perfect place to discover all kinds of hidden treasures. So it's telling you to go outside.
I won't.
It's literally just telling you to go. It's giving you a bunch of things. Oh no, you gotta find the hidden items. I lied.
I won't go outside.
There's a fun item search on the back.
Ooh.
So you can find a baseball, a football, a beach ball, a magnifying glass.
We'll put it on the...
We'll take a picture, put it on social media, see if you can find them all.
Some
I found some.
Yeah. We should probably not play this game on air.
It's just gonna be us saying items. Ooh, there's a shoe.
No, like, fuck this podcast. Also, we cursed. Did we introduce ourselves? We did.
Yes.
Okay. So, the cereal is good. But it's like one of those cereals that it's not like a treat. It's more like
it's like I have to eat breakfast. Like, it's the like... I met a Best Western in the middle of Indiana on my way somewhere, and I need food before I get back on the road, so here's some cereal.
But it's also like not like I hate it. You know, it's not like a punishment. It's not like, oh, they have bran.
It's not like Raisin Bran, dry ass.
I like Raisin Bran,
really?
but I don't like Bran Flakes. My mom loves Bran Flakes, and I was like, what's the point?
Without the raisins and the sugar,
thing, though. Yeah. I don't like raisins.
But you like
Raisin Bran.
Interesting.
I'll eat the raisins in the Raisin Bran, but if you put it in carrot cake, I don't understand you. And don't put them in cookies.
I just went to a wedding where they had carrot cake as the cake, and
delicious.
It was delicious, and there were no raisins, and it was gluten free.
Good for you. You should always have cake at weddings, especially if you invite me, because I have a cake problem. If you would like to hear about the source of my cake problem, head to Anastasia TV, because I tell a story about it. It's the time I dined with neo-Nazis. It's great.
This is so weird in my mouth.
It's getting really mushy. You're right.
You gotta eat it fast.
But it's... Again, I'm not mad at it.
I'm enjoying it. It's another one where I'd only eat it dry if I had absolutely nothing in my house.
But I feel like I would not be like, this sucks.
No, I'd be like, this is fine. I enjoy.
If I was at a Best Western and they had like a cereal selection, and the cereal selection was like Bran Flakes, Life,
shredded wheat,
I'd be like, I'm okay with Life.
I like some Life.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think I would buy a big box of it. I'll say that.
No, I'm very glad that the box I got was like super small compared to the other boxes we got.
Yeah.
But like, my boyfriend did eat all of that s'mores cereal.
I would have eaten all that s'mores cereal.
All of it in like a week.
But did you tell? Oh, we didn't say this, but okay. If our co-host is listening to this, we hid 2 cereal boxes in your bedroom because we didn't want the cereal anymore. And I heard from your roommate and also our co-host that you hadn't found it yet and that you were worried.
I was there last night and I heard nothing about it.
And I was like, can you tell him? Because that's real serious.
They weren't hidden well.
Then we gave our other co-host the banana Nilla cereal, and he liked it, but his wife
agreed with us. She said it was trash.
So, Blake, if you haven't told Zane,
tell Zane.
Zane, if you're listening to this, there are 2 boxes of cereal in your bedroom.
One of them is those frosted donuts, I think.
Yep. And then the other one is, fuck if I know.
I don't remember.
That's actually not a cereal. But yeah, this is one that I'm not horrified by.
Not horrified. It's decent. I wouldn't buy it again. I will take my other boring cereals over this one.
Yeah, I think I'd pick up a Puffin instead, because I feel Puffins are boring, but they're like good.
They're fun. Yeah. They still have some sugar. It's not like you're eating Cheerios.
I like Cheerios, depending on the Cheerios. I like Honey Nut Cheerios though.
No, that's not true. I don't love any Cheerios. The berry ones are too sweet.
Oh, I don't want to. That doesn't even sound appeasing.
Berry. It's like very berry Cheerios.
I'm fur. We're gonna have to see what. I'm sure that we'll have to eat that one episode
at some point.
But you just know how I feel about it right now.
But yeah,
I'm gonna say knife.
Also,
Knife.
I'll give it a knife up. I'm gonna give it a knife up.
I'm gonna give it a knife up wet. I'm gonna get a knife on the table.
Okay.
For dry.
Ooh.
I'm not I'm not excited about it, but I'm also not like upset. So I feel like a knife on the table is a valid.
But it's heart healthy and an excellent source of B vitamins.
Ooh, I don't have any B vitamins. I don't think. There's really no nutrients in my body.
B7 Toppan is the, like, biotin one that's really good for your hair, skin, and nails, but I just take a prenatal vitamin because my nails are stupid brittle.
That's why I get dips. We're all going off a tangent. Okay,
anyway.
But I will say a little bit about the cereal Life. It was introduced in 1961 by Quaker Oats Company.
That makes sense.
And used to be made of oats, soy protein concentrate, sodium caseinate, and sugar. But now is sugar, corn flour, and whole wheat flour and rice flour.
Yep. Whole grain oat flour, sugar, corn flour, wheat flour, rice flour, salt, and then all of the, like, preservatives and whatever. So folic acid and vitamins and stuff.
It feels like not...
Yeah, there's like one preservative and then a bunch of vitamins that they add to it.
So it might be kind of a healthier option for you.
Heart healthy.
Heart healthy. 20 grams of whole grain.
So that you can have all of your life sucked out of you by Jane Toppan.
Oh yes, let's get into her. I'm gonna eat a little bit more.
Yeah, keep eating before it turns into just total mush.
Because my protein diet breakfast is
protein deficient. So, and this is super funny to me, is that Boston has, like, not a ton of super, super famous murderers. There's,
really?
Like,
I feel like
the Boston Strangler.
But I also feel like you're just a brutal town.
That's the thing. There are brutal things that happen, but we don't have, like, serial killers, you know? Like, there's a bunch of mob activity, but that's the mob.
But isn't it kind of like a serial killer? I mean, they're not systematic, but...
Like, yes and no, but it's kind of like gang violence out here.
Yeah.
Where it's like,
there's people
could do a podcast about the Bloods, but...
Or the M13.
Yeah.
Out here.
Oh, God.
But you see a guy with a machete in LA, they're M13.
Why? That's such a noticeable thing. No one walks around.
My friend the other day, I was talking to him.
Ridiculous.
He was like, oh, no, somebody I met yesterday. And he was like, yeah, we live in North Hollywood currently, and then the other day we saw M13 walking down the street with a machete. And I was like, oh.
Nope, none of that, thank you.
But this girl, she's a little subtle.
Jane is interesting. She's also
light.
She's very interesting. So she was born around 1857. This is back before, like, birth records and stuff like that are really kept for people who aren't ridiculously wealthy. So no one totally knows. But around, like, Boston, Massachusetts, yeah, and I was like, what is it with the Industrial Revolution and a bunch of Bostonian serial killers? Because this is also around the same time as, Lizzie Borden, who's, like, late 1800s, and then there's, like, anyway.
Do you think there is something to that? I mean, like...
I feel like there probably is, because it's mass migration. This is when you have people moving to all of these places with factories and with mills and, like, who are producing stuff.
And there's not a war going on right now, right? I don't feel like there's a war.
When did the Civil War happen?
Okay, well, let's just not do that.
Good, that can cover up my dumb question. I won't feel as dumb.
I'm just like, I also think, I'm just thinking when women start getting...
Women's suffrage doesn't happen until, like, the early 1900s.
No, but I think there's, like, something to happen with women serial killers, at least, where there's kind of, like, some kind of weird, like, feeling
there's this new environment that's created.
Yeah,
almost.
I don't know what it is. Like, so maybe it's like factory working is a big thing. So you have a little bit more freedom.
You have all these people moving from these rural communities where everyone knows each other into these big cities where you're all packed on top of each other,
and you can get easily lost.
And and it's super. Things are dirty. Things are tight.
Times are hard.
Yeah, it's you're making like maybe 15 cents a day or something working at this factory.
Kind of freedom to you because you don't have to like marry like the first guy that
like women could get jobs at like shoe factories and mills making fabric and stuff like that. Like they could go out and work sort of for the first time. That wasn't like stay at home and tend our field.
Right. Because she was a nurse, so she had a vocation.
She has an interesting backstory. So she was born to this poor Irish immigrant family. She was the youngest of 4 girls, and this was the time in America. I know specifically in the Northeast. I have no idea about the rest of the country, but it was Nina. No Irish need apply, and that was just written in stores, in businesses, in everywhere.
You know, it's funny, and I feel like they don't really talk about it a lot, but being Irish is such a pride now.
Oh, like, yeah. It's a hugely,
people are so excited about it, and I feel like Italian culture is the same. But when they came here,
horribly disliked.
Just disgusting.
Horribly terrible. Hated. Yeah, WAP without papers. Just terrible abbreviations that make you feel degraded.
Yeah.
And now it's like, you can't, like, there's no way to look at a person in America now and be like, Irish, Italian, French,
and they're so proud of it now, which is funny because, like, they were so abused, so, like, mistreated, so abused. Hated, and now, like, so many of them are just, like Irish pride and stuff like that. Like, fuck you, migrant.
Yeah, but fuck these immigrants who are coming
I just want you to, like, hear some of the stories from the shit that you guys went through
150 years ago. Like, people's grandparents probably have stories from either their time or their parents. Like, we are not that far away from this.
So that must have been a whole interesting thing. Maybe
Irish immigrants, and it's tangent but interesting. In Boston, in this time period, Irish were, of course, devoutly Catholic, and so churches were a big hub of activity and community and stuff, and people, the priests and, like, deacons of these churches were like, go in and tell them you will work for less than any WAPs, any, like, black people, like, any of those people, like, undercut them, and that's how the Irish, like, got their foot in the door and moved up in society, is because they literally were like, we will work for nothing. We will work for less than nothing.
Irish history is so interesting.
So weird.
It's I also remember seeing, like, this movie, and I again, if you guys know it, about, like, the Mexican-American War, and the Irish were one of the most, like, deciding factors
in the
battle because and that's why you see a lot of redheads in Mexico and stuff like that, is because the Irish fought with Mexico because they were easy to hire.
Yeah, if you pay them, they'll work.
And I gotta appreciate that, like, you know, they had a
hustle. You can't deny it.
And I'm part Irish, so I do that.
But yeah, so this was the time she was born to this Irish immigrant family who, like, got no work. Her original name was Honora, like Honora, or Honora. Her father was a tailor who is said to have lost his mind and sewn his own eyelids shut.
Tailor, huh?
How do you sew your own eyelids shut?
You know, it's funny because it's, like, not one of the typical, I went crazy because of my job one.
No.
Because, like,
hatters would go crazy.
Tanners.
Like, because you're involved with all these chemicals.
I wonder what was
going
on.
But, probably just being an Irish immigrant in Boston was so shitty.
It probably sucked, yeah. But I wouldn't want to sew my eyelids shut.
But so he went crazy. The family's like, how do we make money? We've got all these mouths to feed. There's, like, 5 kids. So 2 of the daughters, Jane, Honora at the time, and her sister Delia, were brought to the Boston Female Asylum, which is like an orphanage, but does not sound like an orphanage. Sounds terrible.
Also, orphanage doesn't sound nice either. But
orphanages are terrible, and if you look into it, there's, like, a really long history of just bad, because they're not, abuse. It's just bad. Orphanages are, like, good in concept, bad in execution.
Foster care is the same way.
But anyway, so the way that the asylum worked is at the age of 10, the girls would be placed with, like, an upper class family as basically, like, a serf.
Okay.
Like, you were just in this sort of, like, indentured servitude until you turned 18, and they could, like,
and then what would you do? You'd probably just stay along. You'd probably stay there.
Yes, so that's what Jane did. She got, I don't want to say bought, but, like, she got picked up by this family and became the servant of Mrs. Anne C. Toppan of Lowell, Massachusetts, which at the time was a very nice city and now is trying to again be a very nice city. It was really shitty for a while.
That's how she got her name.
Yeah, so she goes and moves in with this family, and I guess I got most of my information from the New England Historical Society website, And they didn't say, like, when she changed her name, but I think it was because the family was like, oh, we can't have an Irish immigrant in the house, so we gotta tell everyone that she's Italian, and that she was, they gave her a fake backstory as Italian immigrant's daughter, whose parents died at sea. Because society hated the Irish so much that it was better that she was an Italian immigrant's kid.
Which is weird because only a few years later it would be the opposite.
It makes no sense.
They were really upset about
It's so silly. But so she, like...
We're funny people, aren't we? They're just funny.
She gets this new name, this whole new backstory, and goes on to high school, graduates, is, like, super popular. But in high school was even displaying signs of, like, something's not quite right, something's off. She would start telling these, like, sort of outrageous lies about her family, like that her sister married an English nobleman.
I mean, that kind of sounds like somebody that's been through extreme trauma and abandonment. They're just trying to figure out, like, they're trying to make a better story of their life than it actually feels.
Yeah, they're trying to create this narrative that they can follow, that they, like,
can deal with,
they can understand. Yeah, because I'm sure that, like, being torn from your parents, dropped in this asylum, and then, like, essentially bought by this family is not a good... While it's still 1860 or whatever, and, like, indoor plumbing isn't really a thing.
That's the major issue. That's
like you don't have, like...
That's the real problem.
Like,
not
the
the
real issues here.
It's the fact that you can't flush a toilet.
You have to go find a well if you want to take a bath.
If I couldn't take a bath, I'd be so sad.
So at 18, after she graduates, the Toppans are like, okay, well, you can, like, leave if you want. Here's $50, which in today's money is, like, $1,200. And they're like,
that's not too bad.
Go start a life.
I mean, they did buy a person, but that's still not... I mean, they give her education and new some money. Hopefully they treated her right.
It doesn't say anything... to the contrary, like, there's no indication that she was abused or beaten or anything like that, but I don't think she was...
away with, like, a good situation.
Yeah, like, I don't think she was, you know, treated the same as their daughter, but she wasn't, like, thrown into a fire or anything.
I feel like those are two very extreme things. I feel like there's a little bit...
there's also, I mean, it was also the 1800s, and women had to wear, like, 6 petticoats and cook standing in the fucking oven, so life was hard.
Yeah.
But anyway, so she's like, nah, I'm good. I'll stay here. Like, I'll work for you guys. This is a way easier situation. And so their daughter married a deacon of the local church. I'm guessing it was, like, evangelical or something. Because obviously priests can't marry in the Catholic religion.
No, the Catholic...
But,
sorry, I'm a recovering Catholic, so I'm just gonna shut up right now, because, I want to...
There's a lot of opinions.
Yeah, you know. Not all negative. Not all negative.
Okay.
I will do that.
So, she gets kicked out of the house once this marriage happens, because the husband is like, I don't really like the look of her, she makes me kind of uncomfortable, like, I don't think we need her around, we have plenty of other servants. So then she goes off and starts nursing school at age 33.
Wow.
So, like, pretty decent. Like, I know plenty of people in nursing school around that age now.
Not back then.
Like, which, like, yeah, back then, I think nursing was one of the few, like, higher education things women could pursue.
I feel like teacher and nurse.
Yeah, like, you couldn't really become, like, an engineer or, like, anything like that. Like, being a full doctor was, like, really hard at this time, and there are cases of women pretending to be men because medical schools wouldn't even let women in right now.
It's like Tootsie.
Yes. Or Yentl.
Sure.
The Barbra Streisand one where she pretends to be a boy.
They're all very similar to the things and the plight of women back then.
Yeah. So she, like, goes through nursing school, and she is a total gossip, and so all of her classmates start to hate her because she's just sitting around, like, poking the bear, essentially, and spreading all these sort of rumors about everyone.
As you do.
And she eventually gets a job at Mass General Hospital, which is still it's still there today.
Did
it's
they
one
use
of the
the
leading
same equipment?
No.
Does it look the same?
Not at all. Mass General is actually a really great hospital, and once a week they do sexual health and STD clinics that are free.
Oh,
so you can go in and get like checked out if you just like want to get a pap smear or need to get checked out or anything.
That's amazing.
It's great. They're a great hospital.
And they don't use the same equipment.
No, they don't.
Missed opportunity.
So she worked with the hospital, and then the hospital was like, "You're doing some shady shit. Like, we don't really like the way that you're practicing medicine." For example, she was experimenting with using morphine and atropine, which is used in treating nerve agents or like pesticide poisoning. It slows your heart rate down, and decreases saliva production. And so the doctors were like, you shouldn't really be messing around with this. You're way too...
So she was, like, experimenting on people?
On patients. And, like, then the doctors at Mass General found out and were like, but she wasn't, like, she hadn't killed anyone at this point. She was just kind of, like, playing with levels. And, like, was very invested in, like, autopsies and that kind of thing. And so they were like, let's get you away from the people.
At this point, like, you feel like if she was born nowadays, she would have just gone into some kind of form of research or forensics.
Something like that. Yeah. Or, like, yeah. Or she would have done
maybe been okay.
What she did next, which is go into private care. So a doctor that liked her, worked closely with, starts recommending her to patients outside the hospital. I was like, if you need an at-home nurse, if you need someone to come and like check in on you, Jane is super great. We love Jane.
So she made a good impression on some people.
So you made a good impression on some people. It's I feel like she's like the kiss up in class, where it's like, some of the teachers are gonna be like, she's so wonderful and lovely, and some of the teachers are gonna be like, get your nose out of my ass, like, what are you doing?
Yeah, don't put it there. Not a class.
So she goes on. Yeah, the doctor liked her. Oh no, the doctor liked her, but outside of work, she was essentially like Blair Waldorf. She like swore like a sailor, told dirty jokes, drank heavily, and had great enjoyment in pitting her friends against each other.
First of all, Blair is a saint.
Blair Waldorf is not a saint.
She's amazing. She and Chuck are all I ever
Oh my god. Oh my god, I have to show you my Chuck Bass whale sweater.
Oh my god, I went boxing like a couple months ago, and Chuck Bass, that's not his name, but
Ed Westwick? Don't mind me.
Like 2 bags over, and I was like, oh my god.
I would have cried.
Oh my god. About it. I was like, oh my god.
Just go and be like,
I was like, who's my friend? I was
say?
like, Jess. She's like, who? I was like,
Chuck
Bass. She's like, who? I was like, leave me alone. Fine. Sorry, Gossip Girl fans.
But she was like Blair on her downtime.
Or maybe she was like, what's her face? Serena.
No, she was like Michelle Trachtenberg's character. Really.
Ew.
She was.
Okay.
She swore a lot and drank a ton and pitted all her friends against each other.
Better.
She was
That's
fully
better.
Michelle Trachtenberg.
That's a better one. Okay.
I don't remember that character's name, but who cares?
Her name.
So she got like $25 a week, which in today's money, I literally Googled so I could know, is like $600. Which, like, honestly, decent pay.
Yeah.
$600 a week, that's like a starting assistant rate in LA.
I mean, you can't live.
You can't live here. But back then, for a woman,
you get 8 roommates for 1
8 roommates in a 2-bedroom in Silver Lake. With no parking included and no street parking.
Yep, and that does not include utilities.
No. Or gas money.
You're walking everywhere.
You'll learn the bus.
You're Ubering if you have a car.
So after a while, and it's unclear like how much time passed, but I think a couple of years, because when she's caught, she's in her like late 30s, early 40s. She starts to commit these murders, and they're like fully out of this like psychosexual like desire to watch life leave somebody. Like it's the opposite of our guy last week, who was like, I need this blood to like survive myself. Jane's just like, I just really love watching you die. Yeah.
Sadistic.
Yeah.
I don't like watching people die.
Yeah, so it's very uncomfortable. I've done it before, not on purpose, but like it's just not fun.
She didn't do it on purpose. I didn't either.
Yeah, no,
it
so
sucks.
And like the luchador, the old lady killer, her victims are primarily older people.
Okay.
Because easier access. She's a nurse, yeah.
But also private care.
Yes.
So invalids and elderly
people, yeah. People,
or as Marilyn Monroe would say, invalid.
I love Marilyn.
Invalid.
So she killed, what did I say? Oh yeah, they were primarily people she knew at first and was friendly with.
Was working with? Oh no,
just people she was friendly with.
Oh, no.
Yeah, because they were feeble. She hated elderly people because they were feeble and fussy and just like basically super annoying. And she was like, they don't really deserve to live anymore. I'm just sick of old people. So she would have done
better in like a Soylent Green society.
Probably, yes.
Right. That's not my
Japan would not have been for her.
No. Most cultures probably are not for her.
No.
Usually we try to
keep our old people alive.
Especially if you're in the medical field. I feel like that's kind of one of the major things that you do.
No.
Oh, okay.
So she killed her first two victims, which were her landlord and his wife.
She just didn't want to pay rent.
That's
what that is, okay? Like, we could just say that. She was like, fuck rent. Rent control for life.
Then she killed a friend who came to visit her who fell ill while she was staying in Cambridge near her.
Can you imagine being like, I'm gonna come over.
Come visit.
I'm sick. Well, that's kind of weird that she's like, I'm sick, I'm gonna come over.
No. She fell ill upon the visit. She came and was like, oh, I'm gonna come visit. And then she got sick. And then Jane was like, ooh, idea. I'll kill you. Yeah, and so in all of these, she uses a combination of morphine and atropine, which are like
she loves.
They're similar drugs, but morphine is a painkiller, and it is meant for like pain management and inoculation type things, whereas atropine is meant to like counteract stuff. And it's supposed to be like if you're exposed to pesticides or like you accidentally eat something like that, then you can get like atropine and it'll like help stabilize your body.
So exposed to pesticides. You've said this.
Well, it's the 1850s, so people didn't know that it wasn't good for you. Like, have you ever seen videos of kids following DEET trucks? DEET.
I just sprayed DEET on me a couple weeks ago for Yosemite.
Yeah, it's this like super intense bug repellent.
Right.
That the government used to just have trucks like go around and like spray until they were like, this is really, really bad for the environment and people, and we shouldn't be just like spraying this in the public. But in the 60s, kids, my mom has a story about this, because I guess it smelled sweet, it smelled like sugar, and there were kids riding their bikes behind it screaming, it smells like cookies! So, pesticides were pretty common. I'm sorry, I'm terrified Anastasia now. I've ruined everything.
I mean, I'm here.
Yeah.
I'm gonna stand by you.
This is why I keep saying pesticides.
Alright, well apparently people were just like, pesticides!
Back when I think they were like there was like early pesticide usage, and so people probably didn't know that like that's what was causing them to like die.
I'm so shocked. One of my favorite books is The Jungle. You want to never eat again? Actually, I ate a hot dog like directly after.
Reading that?
I was like, nom.
Oh man.
Yeah. Milk. Anyway.
So she's playing around with morphine and atropine and keeping them awake, and then like lowering their heart rate and like doing all this fucked up shit.
Really
loves it. It's that that's the element that she like gets off on. And like I found 2 newspaper clippings from the time, one from when she went to trial, and then one from after, and I guess like 7 years after she went to trial, she came out and was like, oh yeah, I actually killed like 31 people. She went to trial for 6 specific murders that they could tie her to, and then after she was like, yeah, it was like way more than that.
I feel like she's been messing around with it even when they caught her at the hospital.
In the hospital, probably. There probably are deaths that weren't attributed to her that happened then, yeah.
She was just like playing it out, trying
messing around, like.
Because I find it hard to believe if she was messing around with that method that she didn't accidentally do it.
No, and then she starts to, like, she just, like, does a bunch of weird shit. So, like, a month after she kills the friend who fell ill on her visit, she murders another friend because she wants her job at this theological school. And that, like, totally doesn't work. Because
just so you know, when you're applying for a job, it does not help your chances
if you murder the person who's there. So she murders this person because she wants her job, but then she gets fired because everyone's complaining that she's not actually good at this job because it's not being a nurse. It has to do with, like, finance and registries and stuff. And so she's, like, incompetent with money, and they're like, yeah, no, we fired you.
We fire you.
And so then in 1899, when she's, like, early 40s? Yeah, early 40s. She murders her foster sister, Elizabeth, who had married the deacon, because she wants her life, essentially. She's like, I want to live in your fancy-ass house with your fancy husband and all your servants and have this, like, fancy life. So she murders her foster sister. She, like, lures her foster sister to Cape Cod to come visit her, because she's on Cape Cod somehow. And
lobster rolls, right?
and kills her with a glass of strychnine-laced water.
Never taking water from people again.
No, but yeah, strychnine's deadly because it's one of those ones that you can't taste.
Well, I would assume it's deadly since it killed her.
It killed her. So she moves into her foster sister's life and tries to get the widowed husband to marry her. So Jane's like, no, I know I killed your sister, but marry me. Please marry me. Please. He hated her. He was like, I want nothing to do with you. He probably thought that she had murdered her foster sister because, like, she went to Cape Cod perfectly fine and then just died. So she got kicked out of the house and she tried to commit suicide by overdosing on morphine, which backfired because she didn't take enough morphine. So then she just ended up at a hospital. And in 1901, there was a detective trailing Jane who was hired by a family that she had killed at some point. And that's the thing, is, like, she's just killing the whole time she's a nurse.
Yeah.
So there are so many undocumented and documented people, and it's this family, the Davis family, that she killed the entire family. Like, wiped out the whole line of them. And she did the same thing to the Davis family that she did to her stepsister. She killed the whole family.
Holy shit.
And tried to, like, take over assets and stuff. But anyway, eventually she was arrested in Amherst in 1901, went to trial a year later because of this detective hired by the Davis family, or whoever was left to run the estate of the Davis family. And finds that, yeah, she, like, is doing some shady shit. So she claims that the entire thing was kicked off by her high school sweetheart dumping her. And that's why she went on this, like, spree of murdering a bunch of old people. Which, like...
I'm gonna go with no.
Yeah. But she was found not guilty by reason of insanity. She did, however, spend the remainder of her life in the Taunton State Hospital.
Okay. Which is probably not pleasant. Probably
not pleasant, and I think is one of the ones that they turned into condos, I want to say. A lot of the old mental institutions in Massachusetts, they turned into condos.
That's so funny because
really
I went to Boston and they had this, like, new hotel and bar that was made out of an old jail.
Ooh! I've stayed there. It's the old... Yeah, the old state prison.
And then Salem has a couple buildings that they changed. Like, the Monopoly factory got changed, or not Monopoly,
but yeah,
and then across from it, I think it's like another either jail or institution that was turned into...
Yeah, they just turn it all into housing. All of the old mills and stuff are, like, artist lofts.
Yeah, and they're, like, crazy expensive.
Yeah, super expensive. I've stayed in...
use, like, little pieces of the...
Yeah, the Liberty Hotel that has 3 bars that are all jail-themed.
Yeah.
It's ridiculous.
It's pretty fun, though.
It's super cool. But yeah, if you want to stay in one of the cells that is the actual old jail, it's like fucking $1,000 a night. It's so stupid.
I don't really care.
Oh my god.
Can you be like
dream
my
one day?
Like,
let's go to the stay in this
hey,
jail.
Baby, where do you want to go for your honeymoon? I want to stay in a jail cell.
I want to stay in this jail cell.
You could stay in, like, all these different places. Like, you could stay in the catacombs, like, a couple times a year.
Yeah.
And I'm like, yes!
Oh, yeah.
I tried to win that so many times.
Yeah, so fast. Yeah, it's the weirdest thing to me is that there are a couple of mental hospitals that I, like, either I or someone I knew when we were kids, we would just, like, go fuck around in these, like, abandoned mental hospitals. That's amazing. Now it's, like, $3,000 a month condos.
What happened to Cropsey? Isn't that in New York?
That was New York, yeah.
I don't know what they did with that.
I don't know.
Because I remember seeing, like, the documentary and it looked like just garbage. Like, they...
Is that the one that's on Roosevelt Island?
I think so.
When I'm like...
They made horror movies about it, but they also made, like, an actual documentary about how horrible it was.
Because there's,
if you were there.
Because Roosevelt Island had, like, the mental institution and the typhus hospital. And the hospital is now an actual hospital. I
don't think this one is...
Is it different? Okay.
I don't know. You know, I don't know what they did with it, but,
My uncle, when he had cancer, stayed on Roosevelt Island, so we, like, went there a whole lot.
Did you?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's in New York. New York City urban... Staten Island. I guess no. Staten Island.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Oh, okay, so Cropsey is like a guy, but he went to the state...
the state institution.
He's from Staten Island, and he stayed in the institution, but Cropsey is actually, like... There's also, like, a, you know, documentary about like, how bad that state prison... Or
the mental institution
is.
I want to say it's the one that's on Roosevelt Island. Last I knew, it wasn't anything, but it's probably been turned into some, like, crazy community art center or some shit.
If it isn't, I really want to walk around.
It's fucking freaky.
So
Jane goes away to this state hospital for life. In 1904, she gives an interview where she admits to murdering 31 people and says that she got a sexual thrill out of the whole experience.
That's kind of a rarity for a female to admit, I think.
And she was absolutely the first female serial killer who was like, I do this for the joy of doing it.
I mean, I think you could probably say Elizabeth Bathory, or Ursula Bathory, was similar, but I just read a whole book that we eventually have to do a whole thing on her because there's some theories that disprove that.
Interesting.
But yeah, I think the big highly thing was that she bathed in blood and got off on, and like stuff like that.
Yeah, that makes sense. But yeah, Jane just loves that, like, toying with life.
It's so sadistic. Like,
which is
just watching it bring back and forth, and it seems so highly sexualized.
Well, I'm like, I don't know if morphine is one of them, but I know that there are some poisons that if you try to, like, die by them or kill someone or whatever, it, like, they, like, vomit a lot, and there's, like, bile, and it just, like, is very disgusting and not, like, a smooth, easy murder.
But I think
I have no idea. She
probably
knew,
but also was used to being around that.
Yeah, that's true.
I mean, for us, it might be like,
whatevers.
Yeah, I mean, like, for us, it's like, that's disgusting, but for her, she's like, I probably cleaned up worse. You know?
My favorite thing about Jane is that, one, she was probably insane in some degree. Like, she definitely was not altogether upstairs. But that she was like, well, I want my stepsister's life, so if I just kill her, I'll have her life.
And then, I really like my friend's job.
If I just kill her, I'll have this job.
That never
like,
works.
that's a logical, like, of course, everyone else in this scenario
just
will fall into place.
Yeah. It never works, you guys.
It just makes no sense, but it just shows how much she wasn't thinking like that. She wasn't going through the, like, okay, what are the consequences of all my actions?
Right.
She was just doing because it gave her that thrill.
Yeah. And then she thought, oh, if it gives me this thrill and it helps me in some way, why not? But, you know.
Yeah. So that's the Angel of Death, Jane Toppan. And I know there are other
Angels of Death.
Angels of Death.
Yes.
There are other, like, nightingale killers or whatever they might be called.
Such a weird name. It just sounds so...
Well, there's Florence Nightingale. There's, like, Florence Nightingale the nurse, and there's Nightingale syndrome. But there's also, like, nurse murderers, which makes sense. You have easy access. You have access to drugs. You have access to people.
Yeah. And then, I mean, yeah. Yeah. I was like, and then you might, like, be kind of desensitized to some of the pain.
Yeah.
Because you
probably have
like,
to.
super empathetic, or, like, you're super, like, I don't give a shit.
Yeah, there's, like, no... I recently read an article about the best episode of Scrubs, which is the one where Dr. Cox, accidentally, like, kills 2 patients and then, like, can't continue being a person anymore.
Yeah.
And I just am like, nope, no. There's no way I couldn't even be a vet.
No.
I would not be able to emotionally handle that. No. It would be so hard, and anytime anything went bad, I would be like, and I'm done. I quit. Goodbye.
Yeah, I think I could only be, like, in forensics where they're just like...
It's all evidence, yeah. It's all just, like...
evidence.
Here's data, here's, like, stuff to look at, but none of it is, like...
I mean, I commend people that are in the medical field and have to deal with it all this, because it's
tough.
hard. And then I guess when things go really wrong with people's minds in there in that field, it's so easy.
It's dangerous. That's the ultimate thing, is like it's not just people who want to murder who are like, ooh, I have access and means and like easy access, but it's like there's the podcast Dr. Death.
Oh my god.
Where it's this guy,
which they're making into
a
movie.
Oh, it's a movie?
No,
it's a TV show? Okay, because I have to watch the Dirty John one.
If you saw Dirty John, or listen to Dirty John.
Oh, so good. Yeah. So Dr. Death is by the same people, and it's amazing, and it's like another case of like, it's like a similar situation, but a totally different situation.
We should do a whole freaking episode on him.
We should. He was fascinating. But, like, yeah, when it boils down to it, he was just this guy who kept being like, no, I can do it, and, like, fucking couldn't.
Yeah. I mean, yeah. And whereas she
could. She knew what she was doing.
To do differently.
Yeah.
Real differently.
It was, but it's also... I think it's super interesting that it was in the, like, middle 1800s. Like, it's not... Like, I could totally see, like, a World War I nurse snapping and being like, fuck it, let's kill everybody.
Yeah.
But, like, I don't know. It's just such an interesting story of, like, this immigrant girl looks like she gets this nice life and then murders 31 people.
Yeah. Or, like, maybe not nice life,
but like, nice comparatively.
Life,
yeah. An okay life. Has some money, has a roof over her head.
Which is more than most people had back then.
Yeah.
So, you know, but yeah, she's super interesting. So she's a knife down.
Knife down for Jane.
Knife down for Jane. I don't think we said it in the last episode, but knife
down for Richard Chase
as well. Knife down for all murder.
Just no to murder.
Even self-defense, like, I'm rooting for you, but I just don't, I'm gonna knife down murdering anybody.
Murders in self-defense are also really, really hard to prove.
Yeah.
Like, it is legally super difficult. Let me just start rumors. That's fine. In 7th grade, I started a rumor that I hung someone in my backyard.
What the hell,
I didn't, but I started this rumor because I drew. I was literally just like drawing something, and I drew a tree at sunset, and then I was like, oh, it would be cool if there was like a hanging man on this tree, because I was like a weird 7th grader who watched The fucking Crow. You know, like it just was
a great
all messed up. And this kid saw me and was like, what the fuck is that? Did you hang someone? And I was like, yeah, I hung someone in my backyard. And then I like described how I hung someone, just like totally making it up. And then he was like, what the fuck?
And yet I got called into the principal's office for wearing a trench coat.
I got called into I got called into the vice principal's office because I had a shirt that said I'm only wearing pink because my executioner's robe has blood on it.
See, that makes sense that you should bring that in, okay? But I had a syringe pin and a trench coat, and they were like, Anastasia to the...
Yeah, but when was this? How close to Columbine was this?
I mean, it was Columbine era.
Yeah.
Whatever.
Trench coats were banned. Since then, no more trench coats.
Well, she was telling people that she told
people I may own someone.
And then you know what I would tell people? I'm not going to marry you. I'm going to marry Wolverine or the Crypt Keeper. That's what I would say. Hanging, Crypt Keeper. Oh, never mind.
Yeah,
I just proved my point.
It was so weird. I was a weird middle schooler.
I was a weird child in general.
Correct.
And I just turned out
I'm just so normal. And well-adjusted, and nothing is wrong.
If you want to follow us, you guys.
Follow our podcast, and then independently our insane thoughts.
Yeah.
Our podcast is @PodSerialKiller on all platforms.
And podserialkiller@gmail.com if you want to email us,
yes.
which we would love for you to tweet us, email us, Instagram us, all kinds of like cool stuff as long as it's not gross.
Don't send any crime scene photos. No, thank you.
Or I was thinking just no dicks.
Or also that
or something like that.
Don't Quentin Tarantino us.
Please don't. I vomit very easily. But like ideas and pairings and stuff like that, we're all on board for that shit. You can find me at Anastasia W on Twitter, at Anastasia Wash on Instagram, Anastasia TV if you want to see that crazy neo-Nazi birthday party I went to.
And you can find me on Twitter at Maria Immortal.
Because she doesn't like the rest of social media.
Correct.
Bye.
Bye.